Now, if there is one thing an athlete needs to be careful of when in the league, is their activity and attitude off the field. NBA players must show the league how they are capable of behaving themselves in public. It's a part of their contract, and they know that if they break that rule, they will either get fined or suspended. And I'm sure you all know that NBA players have been arrested before. But what if I told you about the most baffling, hilarious, and embarrassing arrests that NBA players have been involved in? Trust me, these get pretty weird. How is everybody doing today? It's Portolo back with another video. Today, I'm going to be talking about the most embarrassing arrests in NBA history. Let's not waste any time, and let's get straight into it. Let's start off with former NBA champion, three-time All-Star, Antoine Walker. Now, Walker was a beast when he was in his prime. Not only was he averaging over 20 points a game like it was nothing, but from 1999 to 2004, he only missed 5 games of basketball. Dude was an Iron Man out there. But in 2009, Antoine Walker was arrested in Las Vegas, Nevada. The reason of this arrest was because he was out gambling and had $822,000 in gambling debt. Not only that, but he was facing 3 felony counts due to writing a bad check. While Walker was in Vegas, he took a loan of around $100,000 each from multiple casinos, and never paid all of them back, so he had to deal with the consequence. Luckily, this arrest occurred right after the end of his NBA career, but that is still extremely embarrassing for an NBA player. Next NBA player on the list is Jack Molina. Now, Molina only played 1 season in the NBA, which was in 1953. He probably could have played even more, but it wasn't the case due to this arrest. Jack Molina was arrested for betting on college games. Not only was he betting on the games, but so were the players. Therefore, him and a bunch of college players got arrested for doing this. Molina was basically kicked out of the NBA after doing this, and his life would never be the same. And then in 1975, at 2 in the morning, he would pass away due to being shot. So it's safe to say that Jack Molina's life was not a bright one, to say the least. Next up on the list is a man who got arrested over 100 times in his life. This story gets pretty dark. The man's name is Eddie Johnson, or as people called him, Fast Eddie Johnson. Before we get to him, let me ask you guys something. Do you remember when Len Bias passed away? Well, the cause of his death was a cocaine-induced heart attack, and Johnson's arrest is also due to cocaine and other stuff that was a lot worse. Let me explain. Throughout most of his career, Johnson was doing a bunch of cocaine without the league realizing. I'm talking a scary amount. Not just that, but the activities Johnson did on cocaine are simply just disgusting. And I'm not going to say exactly what it was, but just know it deserves a ton of jail time. Google it in your free time if you want. But anyways, once the league found out, you know very well they weren't going to let him slide easily. In 1987, the NBA came up with the decision of banning Johnson from the league for good, which seemed like the perfect move. And just like Molina, his life was never the same after that incident. In 2020, Johnson would pass away at the age of 65 due to an illness. I'm not exactly sure what got him ill, but if we had to come up with a theory, we all know very well what it's from. Now, this next arrest was never proven to have been true. Still to this day, nobody knows whether or not the man actually did this. But at the time, when they thought he did it, it was madness. I'm talking about the Black Mamba, Kobe Bryant. In 2003, Kobe Bryant was arrested for allegedly assaulting a woman. Apparently, Bryant allegedly assaulted a 19-year-old employee at the hotel he was staying in. This case took about 14 months until it was dropped. And like I said the first time, we will never really know if this case is true or not, but it sure made Kobe Bryant look like a bad person when it happened. So I've already talked about the players. Let's talk about a referee now. In fact, I made a video in the past about this man on why he got arrested, Tim Donaghy. If you want a full breakdown and story on the case, I suggest you go watch the video. I'll leave a link in the description. But long story short, Tim Donaghy was arrested in 2007 for betting on sports games, including his own games he was a referee in. Donaghy would serve some jail time for this, as the league did not want to do anything with the man anymore. They wanted him gone for good, and that's what they did. Donaghy could have had a better life if he just did what he loved most, which was being a professional referee. But at the time, all this man really cared about was the money. Going back to NBA players now, let's talk about Jason Williams, a man who was known for being a decent NBA player. Now, I'm not talking all-star caliber player, but he can still average around 12 points a game. Anyways, the reason this guy got arrested is simply weird. So back in 2010, it turns out that Jason Williams allegedly murdered his limo driver, Kostas Christofi. Let me explain. And the story behind why he died is just stupid. Williams was giving a tour of his house to some people while playing with a shotgun, and then the gun went off and accidentally hit his limo driver. I would laugh at how idiotic this is, but it's honestly just so sad. I hope nobody is ever inspired by this man to do anything. He would obviously be locked up for this. Finishing it off with Ruben Patterson, probably the darkest story of them all, which is why I will try to be a bit more vague on this story. Robert Patterson was a man who had a respectable career as he put up some decent stats. But in 2001, he was guilty of assaulting his child's nanny, to say it in the least explicit possible way. This would obviously make Patterson look like a horrible human being, and that is basically why he lost his job as an NBA player. And once again, like I said it with Williams, I hope nobody is inspired by this man, because what he did was just wrong. So in the end, these arrests were pretty bad. Just know that if you dream of being a professional athlete one day, be careful of how you act off the field. And that is going to be it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know down in the comments which one of these arrests did you think was the worst or the most embarrassing. And let me know if I missed any arrests that were more embarrassing than this one. As always, leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I will see you all in the next video. I'm out.